Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Excuse me.
Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
We like to call this the Midnight Mystery part, and I, like most of you, have been fascinated by a lot of things that we have heard, especially if you are so inclined as I am to believe that what you believe, or rather what you are told, is the way it is the way it is. Now, I can only speak for myself. I think there are some times where our government actually is in control of things. I think sometimes that when you were in a student council, you are elected, and sometimes you have a limited access to different things in your high school. I'm sure there are different grievance committees inside prisons that give the impression, the illusion that they control things. But just like when a child sits in a car seat and has a steering wheel, sometimes we want to give the child the impression that it controls things. And if you think that our thoughts and concerns are listened to by anybody, you're out of your mind. We, for the most part, are participants in nothing. We just watch what other people do. The government acts independent of us. We're just kind of along for the ride. Well, in 1776, a very interesting number, in Bavaria, Adam Weishaupt, a professor of canon law, founded the Illuminati, the Bavarian Illuminati. And by the way, the goals, I think, are very interesting: to promote Enlightenment ideas, to oppose superstition and religious control, encourage rational thought, reduce monarchic and clerical power. Sign me up. It operated as a secret society because open criticism of the church and the crown was life-threatening. They did not cotton to that. And the group grew rather modestly. It attracted some Freemasons and intellectuals. It was banned by the Bavarian government in the 1780s, and within a decade, it largely disappeared, or so they thought. But what happens if we have a new version of the Illuminati? What if we have a new version of this? You see, it's fascinating because for centuries, the story of the Illuminati, people call it a myth. It's not a myth. It was real. I mean, how powerful it was, that might be subject to debate, but the Illuminati has symbolized this ultimate hidden hand, kind of not the Adam Smith version, but a shadow elite manipulating power kind of behind the governments, behind the curtains, dealing with wars and financial systems. And you know it's true. Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I think Milli Vanilli said the best. Now, in my particular version of it, I think the myth evolves. What if the myth, or as they say, wasn't about one secret society, but what if it's a recurring pattern of power? Let me give you an example. What is the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, this real world scandal? What is it? Shocking the public consciousness, not just because of the crimes, but why? Why? But because of who was allegedly connected to him. Presidents, royalty, billionaires, tech leaders, intelligence figures. It wasn't just criminal. It was, and felt, and still does, ritualistic, elite, untouchable. You see where we're going with this? I respectfully submit, my dear friend, that what we're seeing right now is a latter-day version, a modern Illuminati. Now let's think about the thematic argument, okay? The old Illuminati version was almost a metaphor, okay? Epstein represents a modern mutation of that, if you will, metaphor. See, power has evolved from secret societies to private networks. In the old days, they might have walked around with coats and with robes and pointed hats and wands, and this is different. Today, it's networks of people. And the term cabal, whatever the cabal, isn't robed figures in candlelight chambers, but rather private islands, encrypted apps, intel back channels, billionaire philanthropy fronts. They do it in full sight, in open view, hiding in plain sight. This isn't supernatural. It's not mystical. But it's just as in the dark. And then there's the psychological hook. Why does this resonate? Why do people say, yeah, yes, 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 yes? Because we live in an era where institutions are distrusted, where we talk about wealth inequality is certainly extreme, information is fragmented, scandals rarely, if ever, produce anything even approaching justice. So what happens is what we're seeing right now is a new Illuminati. This Illuminati, this new version of this, it's a decentralized network of ultra elites, bound by mutual leverage, protected by intel assets. They use blackmail and finance and influence, and it's going on right now. And what we are seeing is nothing but this. It is ritualized, it is dark, it is dank, and it still targets the most vulnerable and our most precious. Disagree with me. And if you bring this up to people, remember, when you go up to people, give them a good 15 seconds. If their eyes look dense, if their eyes flutter, move on. Do not waste your time talking to people who don't understand what you're saying. Stop trying to convince people who will never join, who will never come on board, who frankly cannot allow this to happen. They can't. I respectfully submit, my dear friend, that what we are seeing right now is a new version. This is the Epstein Illuminati. We're seeing something. They've uncovered something. You may think it's just a bunch of rich people who are perverts, and that may be true, but the superstructure is what I'm looking at.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.